If I'm a little long-winded, that's a little bit of my priority, I think, my protocol or my preference. But just raise your hand and I'll recognize you. The other thing is, anyone that asks a question, I'm not a stand-up comic here, so I'm not saying things as a comedian. And we should be patient, tolerant, and we should be respectful. If a person asks a question or makes a statement that we don't agree with, we shouldn't laugh. The Prophet didn't teach us that. We should be tolerant and listen to what she has to say, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. And I don't have all the answers. I have the answers from my experience, from my exposure, to the best of my ability. And I'm trying to be fair and objective. That is, where there's an indictment against Muslims, I'm going to say what I saw, and I'm going to agree. But that is not an indictment against Islam, because Islam doesn't accept that. The punishment in Islam for a man prostituting a woman is death. Now you may say that's inhuman, but that's why there's a difference in Islam from Islamic constitution, Islamic civilization, and others, because in Islam it's not tolerated. Now Muslims who do it are criminals. Muslim countries that do it are criminal countries and deviant countries, and there are many of them, definitely, but that's not an indictment against Islam. What I'm speaking about is, what is the treatment? And my sister, she asked, what is the treatment of women according to the Quran? Women are mothers, they are sisters, they are daughters, they are wives, they are human beings, and they have the same rights in the sight of God as men have. And socially, their rights are even more than men in some cases, because they are the hands that prepare the future generations. Now that's what the Quran tells us. Now if Muslims don't act that way in some cases, that's not an indictment against Islam.
I suppose all I objected to was the suggestion that only Western countries have prostitution and have abortion and have all of these things, when the treatment of women as prostitutes is endemic across all cultures and all civilizations. So singling out Western countries.
Well, I only single it out because Western countries have the most glaring statistics of prostitution. Western civilization have the most glaring statistics of pedophilia. Western civilization have the most glaring statistics when it comes to the addiction of drugs. Western civilization has the most glaring statistics when it comes to the addiction of alcohol. Western civilization has the most glaring statistics when it comes to people addicted to cigarette smoking. And the cigarette production started in Western civilization. Western civilization has the most glaring statistics when it comes to murders, homicides. Western civilization has the most glaring statistics when it comes to armed robbery. Western civilization have the most glaring statistics when it comes to children born out of wedlock, children that don't know who their father is. Western civilization has the most glaring statistics when it comes to people who are locked up in industrial complexes called prisons. Western civilization. And I only point out Western civilization because they claim to be the champions of human justice, social justice. They claim to be that, and they go all over the world, policing the world, or polluting the world, whichever we want to say. Now, if they didn't make such claims, I wouldn't point them out. I would simply say that these are statistics that we find everywhere in the world, but these are statistics that found themselves most glaring in the sophistication of Western civilization, and in most cases, began, the industry of it began, and then was transported into those countries. And you only have to be a student of history to know that. You only have to be a student of history to understand that. So I'm being critical where I think it's necessary to be critical, only to say that it is not fair for people who consider themselves to be educated, sophisticated, westernized, modern, or whatever the case might be, while it's evident that Western civilization, I'll give you another statistic that you need to know. Suicide is in its highest rate in the Western civilizations than it is anywhere in the world. These are people who should be satisfied, happy, stable, educated, but they're not. Disparagement, depression, anxiety, and suicide is witnessed more in the Western civilizations than anywhere in the world. Now, these are sociological statistics. I don't say that this doesn't exist in other places, but why should it exist in a place where people are supposed to be the champions of human rights, social justice, who are offering to the world their new world order, and who say that women are mistreated in other places, yet the greatest disparagement, where in the world do you find naked women on a billboard, which even children can see, selling a candy bar? I mean, it's just absurd. If we want to talk about oppression and the indignity and indecency and the oppression and exploitation of women from the time that they are young, nowhere is it personified greater than it is in the Western civilization. When it comes to phenomena that God gave to prophets, and we don't mean feats that are performed, sleight of hand feats or healing that's allegedly performed by evangelists and healers and people of that nature. We're talking about phenomena that were given to prophets, raising the dead, causing the blind to see. We don't find anybody today doing that. If that were the case, if there is a person who is able to do that, they should go to Africa and they should save the 46,000 people that are dying from the AIDS virus. Put their hands on them. And just to, by the way, let you know another contribution of Western civilization, the AIDS virus was developed in America by 5 countries. 63,000 gallons of the AIDS virus was produced in America and graciously inoculated upon the people of Africa, along with vaccines of yellow fever and malaria. Another gift of Western civilization. So basically, just to answer your question, we say that we believe in the phenomena given to Jesus Christ, that it was given by God and not of his own power. This is the point that I was trying to make. Yes, sir.
Just got a question about Islam. What's the significance of the Hajar al-Aswad?
The Hajar al-Aswad is just a stone. That's all it is. It's nothing more. There's no phenomena. There's no spookism. There's no spirituality. There's no mythology or anything attached to it. And I'll say it best in the speech, in the words of one of the followers of the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. When he was going around the Kaaba, he stopped by the Hajar al-Aswad, the black stone, and he said, "O stone, O black stone, you are only a stone, and there's no benefit or no harm in you. And if I didn't see the Prophet kissing you, I would not kiss it." So the kissing of the black stone is for what? It's only symbolic. Doesn't mean anything. Nobody has received any benefit. Nobody is caused any harm. Nobody is cured. It's nothing. It's only a symbol. Nothing. For us, even the Kaaba itself, somebody calls it a holy Kaaba. It is not the holy Kaaba. It is only the Kaaba. Nothing holy about it. Let me answer a couple of questions that came, and the person who wrote this, you asked 3 questions, but they're pretty short, so I'll answer all 3 for you. How can you be so sure that the Quran has not been changed? One test. The Quran was revealed over a period of 23 years, 6,626 verses. In the life of the Prophet, at least 8, 9, and some historians said that 14 of the companions of the Prophet memorized. We know at least 8 of them, under the supervision of the Prophet himself. The Prophet himself, the angel Gabriel, came to him at different periods of time, had him to rehearse the Quran. The Prophet sat with his companions, had them to rehearse the Quran. So before the Prophet passed away, there were several people who memorized the entire Quran, recited the entire Quran at separate times in the company of the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. After the Prophet passed away,